Belting high notes do not require more effort. They require different effort. If you feel like you have to push to get your high notes out, this video is for you. Because pushing isn't a strength issue, it's an effort level problem. And if no one told you how to measure your efforts, then how will you ever learn how to belt high notes without pushing? So today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can fix that. In this video, I'm going to talk about why we tend to push, how to identify the right effort level before you belt a high note. I'll demonstrate a little bit myself, and what high notes should actually feel like when they are repeatable and reliable. By the end of this video, you'll know if you've been pushing out of habit, such as fear or uncertainty, or because your setup is wrong. And if you don't know what I mean by setup, I actually have a free PDF that shows you exactly what that setup is specifically for belting. It is way more simple to understand it like this rather than looking up a bunch of different exercises hoping that your belt just magically clicks. Go ahead and click on that link to grab it. Now, before we get into managing our effort levels, let's talk about the belt definition. We're going to use Kenneth Bozeman's definition. The dominant paradigm observes that belting, acoustically speaking, is a skillful form of what we have here defined as a yell. It is powerful, usually clear, high in energy, expressive, and emotionally strong. The reason why I really like his definition is because he focuses on the observation of what a belt sounds like. From there, we can agree how to approach this in a healthy and safe way without compromising the powerful sound. So here's the big problem. Why do we push? Well, we perceive belting to be something that is intense, so we assume that we have to push. And the students who come to me to learn how to belt always tell me this. They think that belting is supposed to feel very hard and that it's supposed to hurt. But when I tell them it's not supposed to hurt at all, they start to wonder, what kind of belting have they been doing this whole time? And a lot of times we push our efforts all the way to the extremes, called press phonation, and that's where you feel strained and uncomfortable. But if you were never taught what press phonation means, then you never know how to get out of that. And don't worry, I'm gonna show you how to do this today, okay? We also push because we don't know how to go higher while maintaining conditions of the TA muscle activity. When singers try to belt higher, two things happen. They either press harder and harder with their compression efforts, or they let go of their TA muscle completely and just letting their voice go higher, but it sounds thinner. And that's not what they usually want for belting. And before we can talk about managing our efforts, we have to go over the signs of pushing. If you feel neck strain, jaw pressure, air blasting out, reaching for the notes, or relief when it's over, then those are signs of push, not power. Now that we understand why we push, we can proceed with figuring out the right effort levels so that we can belt in a powerful way, but we stay healthy so that we have a long-lasting career on stage, especially if you are a musical theater performer. Take a look at this picture. This is called the effort ruler. This is going to measure how much your vocal folds are pressing together. Another way to call that is compression. Anytime I say the word compression, you need to understand that I'm talking about how much you are pressing the chords together after they are fully closed. If you don't know how to fully close your chords first, then you're always going to be pushing your compression. So make sure you master what chord closure means, and then compression will make a lot more sense. Now on this effort ruler, you're gonna see the yellow zone. That means little to no effort. And when you go to the green zone, that is generally where we want to sing. When we are belting, we wanna be in that zone as well. And then we have the red zone. This is what I call the no-no zone, and that's where you get press phonation. This is where you know you have gone too far with your efforts. So if you are someone who pushes a lot, like you have a tendency to push, then you want to work on reducing your effort until you're in the green zone. In order for you to have a strong belt, you want to be around effort 5 or 6. And if you are still pushing after taking that advice, then I'm going to ask you to take your efforts all the way down to 0. Why do I want you to take it all the way to 0 when we are trying to go for a powerful belt? The reason is we need to teach your body how to sing effortlessly. And effortless means 0. So that might mean not singing at all. And we're just gonna mouth the words. And this is what I do with my students all the time. And it helps them out so much because the default setting with our compression efforts is usually overly pushing. So for someone who is overly pushing, I just train them to reduce their effort all the way to 0. And then we inch our way up until we are around effort 5 or 6. The whole point of this is to establish singing in M1 in a comfortable way. Now, what does it sound like trying this out? I'll show you. We're just gonna start with a simple word like hey, but I'm going to go all the way to effort 0, and then I'm gonna work my way towards effort 6. Watch. Hey, 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 hey! That last one is where I want to belt. Once you have mastered your effort levels, then you can add on acoustic strategies to make your belt sound stronger, but without actually pushing harder. And that is the key to singing higher, belt higher without losing your voice. We use technique to create the illusion of a loud belt, but we are not actually screaming. And this confuses people a lot, especially when I showcase my belt. It sounds like a full belt, but I am not doing a full belt, at least at the laryngeal mechanism level. I add a lot of twang, I add a lot of brightness. So what that is doing is highlighting the acoustic spectrum in a way that sounds sharper, has more ping, and it sounds more focused. The spark of But I always tell my students, we're not going to move on to the acoustic strategies until we really master this part first. Now, let's say you want to try it on a song, not just on the word hey. I'm going to use an example from Wicked, the song No Good Deed. There's a section where Elphaba yells out Fierro, obviously on pitch, and we're going to work through that. I'm going to start with a very low effort, and then I'm going to work my way up. And the highest note I need to belt will be an F5. Fierro, 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 Fierro. See how I did that? Notice what I did there. I didn't have to sing the notes to be able to belt the notes later. What I am establishing is a safe way for my body to approach the belt. If I just belt that right away with no setup, my body is going to freak out. And anytime my body locks up, it's not a good time. Now, what if you are still pushing? I suggest you change the key. Lower it until you can sing comfortably in M1. Because when we are belting higher in musical theater, we generally want to be in M1. A great way to measure this is go 5 keys lower. If your goal note is an F5, like I just showed you, master singing in M1 on a C5. If your goal note is an E5, master M1 on a B4. If your goal note is a D5, master M1 on an A4. Once you are comfortable singing in M1 without pushing harder, then you can inch your way higher and higher. Now, with all that advice, what if you are still pushing? What's going on? Check these other factors. Are you clenching your jaw? This happens a lot when we're trying to control our compression. We go like this. So I would tell my students to relax their jaw. Is your tongue tense? Take the time to stretch your tongue out. I have a lot of exercises where you can pull the tongue and stretch your tongue out, because if your tongue is tense, it's going to block your resonance. And if you can't hear your resonance ring out, that's where singers want to push harder and harder and harder because they're searching for this ring. Are your lips too spread? Belting does require a wider mouth, but maybe don't go too wide or too spread. You're going to have to look into a mirror to actually see that. Are you breathing in too much? And this happens to me all the time, so I really have to check myself on this. But if I'm anticipating the note, then I accidentally inhale way too much. And the problem with inhaling too much is that now you have way too much air in your lungs. It's going to increase your air pressure, and we do not want more air pressure when we are belting. Too much air pressure will lead to excess glottal resistance. All that means is you're gonna push harder. And And are you confusing twang for compression? Sometimes when I tell a student to add more twang rather than adding more effort, they end up adding more effort. And this is because you need to work on isolating vocal structures to move independently without interfering with each other. And the muscle that you really want to work on to engage the twang is something called the middle pharyngeal constrictor. That is a little spot right above your vocal folds. And what that is doing when you engage the twang is that it condenses the tone so that you don't have to actually press the chords together more. So they're very close. The muscles are very close. So I can see how that can be confusing, but you want to take the time to isolate the vocal structures. This is why I suggest you work on compression, effort control first, and then you add the acoustic strategies. And twang is part of that acoustic strategy. Now let's talk about what high belting should actually feel like. High belting should feel like it's locked in. It feels stable. It feels firm, but not tight. And it feels easy, like you didn't even try. I actually had one student tell me this. They thought that belting is supposed to feel like a lot of muscle clenching each other inside of her throat. But when I showed her how to belt, she told me, oh my gosh, it's supposed to feel this easy? I don't feel anything at all. That's like the greatest response to ever hear. And the reason why this is important is because as musical theater performers, we have so many auditions to go to. If you are going to push your voice to the limits every single time, you are never going to recover and sound your best. So this leads me to knowing how you are no longer pushing. It doesn't irritate your throat anymore. It doesn't make you feel scratchy. It doesn't make you feel itchy, and it doesn't make you cough. This type of training is so important for musical theater singers because when you are doing 8 shows a week, you are going to have to put on these high intensity singing. But the answer is not to not belt at all. The audience paid tickets to see you do a remarkable thing on stage, which is to have the technique and the skill to belt high notes in a comfortable and easy way. That's what they're paying for. And there is a way to achieve that and also not hurt your voice. And I just showed you that today. So the singers at this caliber must be able to belt on command and have it be reliable and stable and strong without hurting their voice so that they can do the next show the next day. All right, if this video made you realize, oh, I have been pushing, well, don't stop here. Pushing disappears when you understand which vocal mode you need to be in and how sound is being shaped. Luckily for you, I've got 2 videos focusing on modes and acoustics that you can watch next. Go ahead and check those out, and I'll see you in the next video.